goalkeepers warming up, and they were practicing some shots with Vaughan, and he was spilling them. And that's exactly what he did in the game.
Yeah. I just remember actually, because Keith was there as well. Yeah. And you and Keith fucked off from Redemption early, and we were looking for you.
That's it.
Like,
that's right. We did.
Like,
yeah.
Like, where the fuck's Andy gone? So and because I think that was we sat together that game, didn't we? And we were all sat together. And we had to move because Norwich had more fans. Yeah. We were we were stood next to the Norwich fans, taking the piss out.
That's right. Jamie was having a few words with them, weren't you, Jamie?
I was getting a little bit overexcited and shouting that they've got 14 fingers and things like that. I do get a bit carried away, don't I?
So, I mean, obviously that game obviously went to penalties, and we lost with Gedson's was the decisive one.
It was. Yeah.
We had a series of shit penalties. Did Parrott score his? I know Lamella missed his, didn't he?
No, I think
Parrott missed his as well.
Parrott missed,
yeah. And so obviously Gedson was the last one we had to score. So
it was such a pathetic penalty.
Was that the worst penalty you've ever seen?
Yeah.
Really?
I didn't see it. I stormed out. If you remember, I sort of left my chair.
Oh, yes, right,
Yeah. Stormed out, and then I just stood at the exit, and as soon as
and cried.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ran all the way home.
It was a bad night. Yeah.
Fuming, absolutely fuming on that night. So I don't mind losing, but it's that make it hard. He's literally passed it back to the fucking keeper there. It's just,
oh God, yeah.
I'm so angry. I'm really pleased that they didn't. I'm not pleased actually, but I'm surprised they didn't actually really show it they didn't show it in the episode.
No, they just showed him just before he kicks the ball, kind of thing. Yeah.
But in all the clips, in all the preview clips from previous episodes, I think they show it. So it's just like, it's weird how they kind of mix that together. But I'm glad
it was.
But so it was a shit episode in terms, from our perspective, in terms of things going well or whatever. I thought it was like, it was a shit episode, and then they title it "No Regrets." I mean, what was I thinking about that? What were they?
It's almost like they're saying, that was a really bad period, but let's brush it under the carpet and forget all about it, kind of thing.
But, no regrets for us being shit in that period of time, I don't know. Yeah.
It's funny, just talking about No Regrets, I've made a massive cock up on that because Dappy released No Regrets on the 18th of September in 2011. So if I'd properly researched it and thought about this earlier, I could have said on this day in 2 days, Dappy released No Regrets, and it would have just been seamless and flawless. And
that's all right. We'll edit out the previous one and just take that one.
Can we not edit out both parts?
In reality, I don't think we can be asked to edit out any of it, mate.
Yeah.
Just whenever I speak, just put some white noise on it, and that'll sort it out.
Yeah. Wait, I thought we already had that tuned in. That just happens anyway, isn't that? Is that not default setting? It's
just my voice.
Yeah, that's pretty much. So, when episode 8 was Stop. It was called Stop, right? And that was obviously the build up to, the build up to the COVID
to the lockdown,
situation, and lockdown and everything. And it was kind of a period where we were beset by injuries. And we had like the Burnley game. Yep. And there was a point. There was one of the comments that I wrote down was about Levy, and he was there was a bit where he talks about stuff being difficult, and he says we spent 170 million net, and he just comes out with this statement, which is true, right? But and I'm sure when he said it, he said people seem to forget that. So it's like, this is an opportunity for me to state my case, because no one's got the opportunity to.
This is when they're in Leipzig, isn't it? In the hotel, and he's in the board meeting, and saying to them about the financial results and how people just, should we release them now that we're playing badly on the pitch, and people seem to forget how well we were doing. It's all lost now, and it's like, It's all PR, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the show is, it's all about PR. So, I mean, I just don't care really if he says stuff like that. That's fair enough.
I didn't have any. I'm not like I wasn't angry about it. I just thought it was quite funny.
Yeah,
he thought, oh, fuck it, this is an opportunity to put a positive spin on it. Look,
what I thought was quite interesting about that, though, those three are really the main board members. So you've got Collicott, Donna Marie Cullen, and Levy. Those are the three, and those are the three that make decisions for Spurs. And that's just quite interesting seeing for once a board meeting. We've never seen that before.
Yeah, a condensed board meeting, albeit a staged board.
Of course,
meeting, So, no, good stuff. So again, like that, and I think like Jay beforehand, you did say it was more a lot of rinse and repeat, and there was a lot of Jose talking about the mentality again in this episode, and it becomes a common theme. And
I thought Jose made an interesting statement, because he said at the start of the episode that this had come at the right time of his career. All these problems, all these injuries, all these issues, COVID. And had it come earlier in his career, he says, I'm not sure I would have coped. So it was almost like he was seeing it as a challenge and seeing it as something that he could take on, and he wanted everybody to know it. So, I just thought that was mildly interesting.
More PR.
More PR.
More
the Jose
PR.
Show.
Yeah. So,
exactly. I mean, in terms of that episode, I mean, I found it quite a difficult watch, obviously, with all of the COVID.
I did actually.
Very difficult. It still seemed too raw and too.
Yeah.
It from our own personal experience of dealing with COVID, it just felt. Yeah, it just felt too early to talk about it. Obviously, we can't ignore it, but it just brought back it just brought back a lot of bad memories in terms of.
I know what you mean. I felt the same. I just thought when they were talking about all the, the first kind of social distancing exercises or measures that they were bringing into place, it just seemed a bit kind of, as you say, raw, bit recent, and stuff that we don't really want to go through again if we can bloody well help it.
That's the thing. You're seeing something, obviously when we watch football, we support the football club. That separates our own, when we go to the football, our own personal experiences and what happened during the week. We leave that behind and we just buy into and jump into the football. We forget all the problems that we've got, and when we're there in redemption or we're in the ground, it's 100% Spurs focus. But obviously when the COVID thing appeared on the episode, it just felt too much like an emotional attachment to. I'm probably not coming across in the best way, but
no, you are. It's about.
No, you are.
I think football. Everyone knows that football is escapism, isn't it?
Exactly, escapism.
You're escaping from whatever's going on in your life. You go for 2 hours, 3 hours, 8 hours for some people, 12-hour benders and whatever for some other people. Just to put that behind them and fall into other stuff. And the replaying of that whole period was difficult. Certainly when they started talking about people, like people have died, like people have died, there's more people are dying and all that sort of stuff. And I agree with you on the difficult part, but I also found it interesting in terms of how from the inside, from a football perspective, how it was, it started to evolve and how it played out, and they started to understand the implications of what it would mean. It was fascinating, and how they had to adjust and learn to deal with this situation, because we were kind of told, right, okay, stay in and be safe fairly early on, and we have people on social media like Andy, you look at science and stuff like that, and it so you give a bit of detail, and we can we can rely on people like yourself or other people that will share bits of information. We go, okay, right, fuck it, I'm staying in. I'm not going out. But they had to still play that. They still had to play. There was still a couple of games that they played with coronavirus. Evolving and starting to take hold, and having to take precautions around that, and it's entertainment. I know we, as you say, like we invest a lot of our time into it, and we invest a lot of ourselves into it, and we throw ourselves into it wholeheartedly. But for us it's entertainment, but for them it's jobs. Like we have jobs, and it's it's their lives and their livelihoods that we're potentially putting at risk for the sake of entertaining the nation, really, or people that are interested in football. I say the nation, but people that are interested in football, because there are people obviously that that don't like football, and fair play to them, really. So you're right. I think I hadn't, when I kind of watched the episode, I probably didn't analyse my feelings of what I was watching to the same extent as you guys did.
I think now
you both discuss it. Yeah.
Strangely enough, and it might not be the right word, but honestly, I felt a bit bored in that episode, because I just didn't want to go over COVID again. I was sick and tired of it. I didn't want to go over it again. So I don't know whether bored is the right word, but I'd had enough of it, and it was a hard watch.
Yeah, I agree.
But in that episode, what was interesting, actually, because you don't see these things, and they're quite basic, but we saw the Burnley away dressing room, and when you compare it to the Spurs home dressing room, which for whatever reason I've kind of got used to seeing now.
Terrible.
See that? That's just like a non-league dressing room.
But that's a common. I mean, have you done the tour? You done the tour yet? Andy?
Of the new stadium?
Yeah.
No, not yet. No.
Okay, so I mean, if you do the tour, you'll find that the away dressing room, although much better than the Burnley's away dressing room, the away dressing room compared to the home dressing room is just like shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
It's just a couple of. It's like literally just it's a large space, but it's just benches, really, and benches and hangers. And the idea, obviously, is to make the away team as uncomfortable as possible in the environment. They don't want you to be comfortable. They don't want you to be as adjusted to your surroundings as you are in your own home dressing room, with the facilities that you might have for prepping and all that sort of malarkey.
Sure.
Obviously there's basic minimum requirements that they have to provide in terms of physio space, probably. There'll be a minimum that the size has to be,
and all the crap they bring into the place as well.
But I mean, literally, I think they just need to give you space for for them to have like their bags and shit like that. So that some people it would be underneath, some people they might give you little bits on the top to do that. Somewhere for them to hang the clothes and a physio's table or whatever, and that's it. They don't have to provide you anymore. So that's
The thing is, with the Premier League squad, when they're there and all the people that go with it, in the Burnley dressing room, they were just like crammed in there, weren't they?
Yeah.
And going back to what you were saying, when we knew that COVID was around and they were still playing, they were all crammed in there really tightly. So it was just weird, just a bit weird.
If only IKEA did changing rooms.
Exactly. Or Carlsberg, even. Yeah.
Whoa.
Obviously.
You're right, and then you kind of get to see, how the situation. It felt like the bad decisions were made at the time, and you get to see that being made again, and indecision. I think early indecision. I think at the beginning, which was so that was a bit frustrating. So we had that, but you also had we have to go through that, and then we start to see the beginnings of the season starting again.
Yeah.
With everything that's associated.
Project Restart.
With the restart, behind closed doors matches, and And obviously, we discussed it on the pods when we brought the pod back after our own sort of lockdown break.